The member for Barker.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister for the Environment and Energy, representing the Minister for Education and Training. Will the Minister update the House on how many families across the country will benefit from the Coalition Government's new childcare package, including, Minister, those in my electorate of Barker? And if you could, Minister, could you compare it to alternative approaches?
The Minister for the Environment and Energy, representing the Minister for Education.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Barker for his question and know that he is fighting hard for his constituents from Mount Gambier to Murray Bridge, Mr Speaker, and more than 80% of those families with using childcare in his electorate will benefit from the Turnbull government's reforms. Indeed, they are the most significant reforms in 40 years, Mr Speaker. An additional $2.5 billion has been added to childcare, and around 1 million families are benefiting. And our emphasis is on the lower and middle-income families and those where parents are working, studying, volunteering, Mr Speaker. They're the ones who will benefit out of our childcare reforms. And we are delivering a fairer system, because there are 370,000 Australian families using childcare with an income less than $65,000. And they will see their subsidy go up from 72 to 85%, Mr Speaker. And we're delivering a more accessible system, because 85% of families using childcare have an income less than $185,000, Mr Speaker. And we are abolishing the annual cap on the rebate, Mr Speaker. And we will deliver a more affordable system as well by introducing an hourly rate cap, Mr Speaker, which will deliver lower prices compared to the Labor Party when they were last in office, where childcare prices went up by more than 50%, Mr Speaker. So a family in Australia with an income of $80,000, with 2 children under 6 years of age, in childcare 5 days a week, paying $100 a day, under the Turnbull government's reforms, they will be $8,000 a year better off, Mr Speaker. $8,000 a year better off. Now, what do you think the Labor Party did, Mr Speaker? Do you think they voted for that legislation, for that reform, Mr Speaker? No. The Labor Party voted against it, despite the fact that 71% of families using childcare in the member for McMahon's electorate would be better off, despite the fact that 72% of families in the member for Maribyrnong's electorate will be better off, Mr Speaker, despite the fact that 75% of families in the member for Port Adelaide's electorate will be better off, and despite the fact that in the member for Kingston, the shadow minister responsible in this area, 83% of the families in her electorate will be better off for the Turnbull government's reform. So, Mr Speaker, when it comes to childcare, as it comes to education, like when it comes to company tax, like it comes to free trade, like when it comes to energy, Mr Speaker, don't look at what Labor says, look at what Labor does. And only the Coalition can deliver a more affordable and reliable childcare system for all Australian families. Yeah.